This is The Hard Naked Truth with your host, Michael Jeffries. Each episode, we bring to you industry experts, disruptors, business owners, and even a few financial superheroes. It's time to let your guard down, embrace the naked truth, and conquer the financial jungle like never before.
Welcome back to another episode of The Hard Naked Truth. I'm joined, this is going to be a great one today. I'm joined on the in the podcast room with, I'd say, the godfather of SMS administration and corporate secretarial solutions and many more in the country. Experienced managing director, demonstrated history of working in IT, service industry, skilled in business planning, software implementation, accounting, company secretarial, and a whole lot more. MD of BGL for over 40 years, and the man behind BGL and the evolution of accounting tech. Welcome, Ron Lesh.
Thank you very much.
Awesome to have you.
I wondered who you were talking about with that introduction.
And so you've been running BGL for over 4 decades. So I think
3 decades.
Three decades. But you started back, in 1983, effectively as a solution provider.
Yeah, I joined in 89.
Okay. So you joined in 89. Who founded it?
Bruce Bushby was the guy's name. He was a chartered accountant, and he was basically doing consulting work for accounting firms.
Okay.
And I knew Bruce because we'd done some mutual assignments together.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. And so then it obviously become the tech focus a few years later, and you've got a background in accounting fundamentally. What drove you to get into then, I guess, the software side of things?
Well, I did a postgrad in IT in 86, 87, so a very long time ago, and IT was very different in those days.
Yes.
I'd been in accounting for, I don't know, about 10 years. I'd been a partner in a firm for a little while. I just decided that I wanted to do something else.
Yep.
And Bruce unfortunately passed away, and there was an opportunity to join that business. So I did, basically. And I was doing more IT work at the accounting firm that I was working for at the time.
Yes.
Than probably accounting work in any case. So it was sort of a natural progression.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because when I went out of uni and first went into public practice, I was in a sort of, I guess, a small to mid-sized firm, and they didn't have anyone who looked after the internal IT and stuff. And I had an interest in IT, and I sort of picked it up and got in and into the back of the server and everything, and learnt as much as I could. And I sort of fell on my feet in relation to that, then looking after tech stuff and everything. And then I got into hedge funds, and as part of my role, I looked after the external tech team and everything. And now obviously I sit in a role within a tech group as well. So it's
look, similarly, I did my accounting degree, became a CA, did the postgrad. As part of the postgrad, I wrote the CAS software. It was an assignment, and we were using it at the firm that I was working for.
Yes.
And I sort of decided that the firm was growing. I put in a new network for them. I can't remember how many terminals they had when I joined, but by the time I left, there was one on everyone's desk.
Yeah.
One screen, however.
Okay. Probably using
a monochrome screen too,
and using Solution 6 or something.
And using Solution 6,
Yeah.
and so it was sort of. It was different days, but it was interesting at the time. Novell networks, setting them up. We found that we were storing heaps and heaps of data. None of the PCs could handle it by themselves, so we had to look at ways that we could get outside of just using a standard PC. Microsoft networks were only in their infancy at that point. So look, it was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot, and it sort of put me in good stead to join BGL, because a lot of the work BGL was doing was consulting. A lot of it was around hardware, or a little bit around hardware. I sort of probably put more of a focus onto that because I had the expertise to put in the systems. It sort of went from there. We started commercializing the CAS software probably back in about 1989 when I joined BGL. We had to turn it from a package that was being used at one site to one that could be used anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
So
was CAS the first?
CAS was the first.
Okay.
So, and it was DOS at that stage.
Mm.
So we went through that whole process of building it into a single file so we could distribute it and all this sort of stuff, which was pretty simple at the time.
Yes.
It only became more complicated once we moved to Windows and different environments, and networks expanded and all that sort of stuff changed.
Yeah.
So I sort of learned a lot along the way. I had some good advisors. We picked the right technologies, which is probably the key.
Helpful. Yep.
Whereas our competitors at the time didn't, so that helped us a lot.
Yeah. What were your competitors at that time?
PKF in Sydney were
Okay.
our main competitor.
Yeah.
David Smith had his corporate registry and super products, and they were competing against ours. They never really made the move from DOS to Windows.
Yeah.
And that helped us.
Mm.
So people didn't want DOS software anymore. But so you got into the late 90s and people really looking for Windows solutions, and we had the only Windows solutions in those markets.
Okay. Is anyone on desktop anymore, or is it completely phased out?
Desktop in Singapore and Hong Kong, we still have a few clients.
Yeah.
But they're not supported. We stopped supporting the software a while ago.
Mm.
They're moving, but we've still got a few to move.
Yep. Okay. And what's the reason they sort of still on it?
They don't want to pay the money for the
for
the cloud version, but they're not going to have a choice really soon. All the electronic filing and everything in Singapore is all based through the cloud product.
Yeah.
And Hong Kong, they've just changed all the forms again, and we're not doing that on the desktop either.
You know, when you first started out, and did you, and when joined BGL and stuff, did you think ever? At what time did you think that it was going to become a dominant force as it has now in, I guess, in corporate compliance in the SMSF world?
I suppose we never looked at it that way. We didn't look at revenue that much. We always looked at client numbers.
Yep.
And it was all about getting the clients and keeping the clients. So that was really the focus. We became dominant because really for a long time we didn't really have any competitors, which makes it easy to become dominant in the market. And we produced good software, and people were prepared to pay us for it every year. So as long as, while clients were happy and while we weren't getting complaints about price increases and all those sort of things, we just continued to focus on really client service. It doesn't matter how good your software is. If you can't service the client, then you won't survive in the long term.
Yeah, I mean, and talking about competition stuff, do you put a focus on competitors out in the marketplace? Obviously the big one that came into play was the class and everything, and it's probably, what's the market share, close to 50% each now, or is
they're about 30 something, and we're over 50 now.
Yeah. Okay.
So look, we don't worry too much about them. We look at what they do because I'm sure they look at what we do.
Yeah, of course.
We look at their numbers when they release them every quarter, which is the nice thing. They have to do that. We don't.
That's good. Yeah.
So we can just move along. But we look at the numbers every year. I think Class put on 8,000 registers and portfolio and super funds or portfolios and super funds in the past 12 months. I think we put on 22,000.
Okay.
So we're growing at a reasonably significant rate, faster than they are.
Yeah.
And they're not even getting what we would think would be generic growth, because I think we're taking a lot off them. So look, we've got a great product. We've got a great team. We're focused on the product, which I think Class has lost the focus.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah.
Not just recently. And look, bad competitors are good for good competitors, exactly. I suppose. So, but we don't worry too much about what they do. We've got no control over it, so they can do what they want.
Yep.
We'll focus on what we think is important, what clients keep telling us is important.
And how do you target growth? Is it? I mean, obviously you got BGL RegTech coming up. It's a big event for you every year. How do you bring on new accounting firms? What's the method and stuff? Because I know from our perspective in Lightyear, and I think we've sort of, the challenge we've got now is I feel email traffic is dead in terms of the sales process. So I wake up every morning, I've got 40 or 50 emails from sales tech companies or
Yep.
outsourcing or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah, and I'm going my walk in the morning, I'm delete, and there's probably good content in there, but we've found that holding our own events, which you do as well, obviously has given us the biggest ROI of late. And we're also going back to a lot of traditional methods in terms of calling, and today our sales team are out doing mail drops and everything to firms. So we're looking completely outside the square to try and work out how do we market and get traction.
Look, for us, it's different in every market. Where do we see our growth? Well, there's still room for growth in both CAS and Simple Fund in Australia.
Yep.
There's about 100,000 odd funds that are not using any software.
Wow.
So that's potentially growth for us. Plus, our clients are growing. And we've got 8,000 clients or thereabouts using Simple Fund. So it gives us a significant just generic growth over a period of time. So there's that in Australia. New Zealand, we've only scratched the surface with CAS. I think we've got a couple of hundred firms, and really there's about 700 or 800 there. So potentially there's a long way to go there.
Yep.
Might be 1,200 actually. Singapore's about the same size. We've got a few more clients there. Hong Kong is similar. There's less firms there now since the Chinese have taken over, but it's probably 700 or 800 still. So there's potential there. In the UK that we've moved into now is huge potential for us. There really isn't anyone with what we've got in the UK. We've got a couple of competitors, but their software looks like our desktop software. For starters. And the automation that we're building and that we've built is just miles ahead. So huge potential for us there. Our partnership with Xero will help that as well. So we see that there are areas for growth. In terms of Australia, we most of our new leads are word of mouth.
Okay.
We do quite a bit of social media marketing. We do a little bit of direct mail. We do 2 events a year. So we do RegTech around August, and we do our masterclasses through March.
Yes.
Masterclasses are more aimed at clients, but we do seem to get a lot of people who are not clients of a product coming along to the masterclasses for the other products, which is really good. And was really one of the purposes of it. So we do those 2. We do a lot of webinars. And we try and do webinars on industry stuff as well as on other things. Like we just did one on the new AML, Know Your Client Requirements. I think we had 1,200 people attended. That's the second one with about 1,200.
Yeah, that's good numbers. Yeah.
So we're picking up people and leads through that. We don't do a lot of direct marketing anymore, at least not in Australia. We do overseas, but we don't in Australia. Overseas, emails and events as well. There are events everywhere that you just got to pick the right ones. And we know the ones we want to do in the UK. We know the ones to do in Asia. So we pick the right ones and we keep building. I don't think our guys are running out of leads. We've just bought some new software to help us a little bit with that, which is quite interesting. And we'll see how that goes. But look, most of our growth has been generic. We haven't purchased anybody. So it's all pretty well generic. I think we grew over 12% last year, about almost 15% the year before.
You're kind of lucky too, aren't you? Because I mean, in terms of the organic growth, like firms, we use all the BGL products in our naked accounting firm, and we're obviously putting on more, and we're growing at a rapid rate. We're putting on more clients, so we need more licenses. We need. Et cetera, et cetera. So BGL is fortunate in relation to we pick up, and we see, I think you talked about 2 things: the importance of the right events, which we target the right events. We don't like you sort of peel back what we do. We support RegTech, and we've got our own event, and because we weren't seeing the ROI on some of the larger events, we're seeing the same people paying 15, 20, 30 grand for a booth, and not picking up much traction. And I know we're going into NZ at the moment. I reached out to Daniel and spoke to him, and he advised me to speak to the Gap, and said that we've got good traction. And obviously then the other thing is partnerships and partnering with the right partners to help each other in the journey and stuff. So
well, that's something that we've done for a long time, and it's all been really part of our ecosystem, is building the ecosystem. And I should say one of the reasons we get word of mouth is through the ecosystem. So we've got about 400 businesses connected to us now.
Okay.
And people talk about you. You know, when they ask, you know, if somebody goes to sell them a practice management solution, they ask, was it integrated with BGL?
Yeah, correct.
So there's all those sort of things that come along the way. And we've invested a lot in that.
Okay.
And we've invested a lot, I suppose, in trying to do stuff that we know is going to help accountants. Work papers in our own product is a perfect example.
Yeah.
You know, we decided a long time ago we didn't want to use anybody else's. We don't care if everyone else integrates with us. That's fine. We'll provide work papers for free because we know we can do accounting work papers as well or better than anybody else. And I suppose, you know, Xero have found that when they've gone shopping in the marketplace to find out who to partner with.
Yes.
So, you know, we've built that. We've built a lot of stuff around smart docs that people don't have. So we feel the way to keep ahead in the industry and to really continue to grow is to continue to innovate.
Yeah.
As long as 100%. We continue to innovate every year, as long as we're doing new stuff, and we've got a couple of real beauties to show people this year at RegTech. As long as we keep doing that, we think we'll continue to get the growth of somewhere between 10 and 15, and we're happy with that.
Okay. And what about the growth in, you know, there's been new products, I've been around for a while now, such as the trust register and things like that, and investment register. Is that
it's growing? Look, it's growing. It's probably not growing as fast as we'd like.
Yeah.
I'm using it myself now. I've been using it this is my second year through using it.
Okay.
I can tell you that it saved me an absolute fortune in time last year.
Okay.
Because I got one trust with a lot of distribution statements, and I'd have to do each one manually if I was doing it in another product.
Yes.
And it did them all for me. So it just saved me a lot of time and effort. It's not perfect, but it's getting better and better all the time. And it's got all the advantages that we've got in the super product. So it's got all the smart docs, the automation and all that sort of stuff. And I can tell you it saves me a lot of time.
Yeah.
So look, it's growing, but it's not growing as fast as I would like.
Yeah.
And we are going to do some more marketing around that this year and give people demonstrative reasons why to buy it. The other market that it's putting us into, which we never thought we'd be into, is family offices.
Okay.
Because
makes sense. Yeah.
There's people out there charging $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 for family office software, and you know, if they've got 10 entities with us, it's going to cost them $1,200 or $1,300 a year. So it's a big difference. It's a huge difference. So we've got some opportunities there as well, and it's a different market for us.
Yeah, I need to have a look at it myself. I haven't played around with it. Should be putting my own. I'm in a similar situation.
Put your own on.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. We've actually we were talking. We had an exec treat up here a couple of weeks ago, and one of the things we're talking about is eating our own meals.
Yeah.
So getting our team to actually use the software for themselves.
So important.
Well, they don't understand what it does and how it does it. It's fine to be a BA or to be a tester, but if you're not actually using it on a day-to-day basis, you don't know.
No, that's right.
And the amount of stuff that I've picked up, just some of the little things, some of the bigger things that I've got the guys to do that they hadn't done, is probably getting to be quite a large list. They've actually got a Ron's sheet in Google Docs of stuff that I want. But it's because I'm using it for property trusts. I'm using it for investment trusts. I'm using it for share trading. I'm using it for all sorts of different types of investment activities. So it's helped me a lot, I can say.
We talk about that with all the accounting firms that on webinars and everything in terms of light year docs. We go, get your team to be doing, especially our estate planning, our family protection trusts, our bloodline SMSFs and everything. Yep. And that, because as you said, your own position and everything, can go through and do it. But I also do that on the light year interview, and I go through and go, hang on, this could be done way better. And it's, if you're not using the product yourself, then you can't.
100%. Yeah. Look, I found it enlightening, I will say. I found a bit of stuff that they should have done, but I've told them that, and they've done it. So, I suppose it's one of the nice things about me using it is at least I come from a practical perspective. I know what I need in it. And if I need it, then everybody else needs it as well.
That's right.
They may not have asked for it because they haven't thought about it, but I'll just make a note and tell them straight away.
Yeah, and let's get on to like tech and everything. Sure. So accounting industry, they like to think that they're technologically advanced, I think, and because they say we use Xero or we're in the cloud and everything. I sort of beg to differ from what I see out there, but what are your thoughts? Are accountants truly getting tech, or do they think that they are partway there?
Look, look, it's interesting. I'll start with an easy comparison.
Mm.
We're trying to sell in the UK now, and the UK are at least 5 years behind us in terms of technology,
really?
Which they always have been.
Yes, yeah.
And that goes back as long as we've been doing business there.
Mm.
I compare that to what accountants are doing here. There are some firms that are really, really good, that have got their tech stacks organized,
Yep.
that know exactly what they're doing, are careful about implementing new products because they don't want to break what they've got, or they don't want to add to a tech stack that's something that they don't need.
Mm.
And there are those firms that are still busy arguing about which products they're going to use.
Yeah.
So there's two distinct groups. I think some of the one of the issues, I suppose, in Australia, and it's an issue worldwide, is the demographic of people who are partners in accounting firms.
Yeah, it's quite.
And it's I think there was some stats recently that something like 80% of tax agents are over 50.
50, yeah. It was on the Sabata Facebook group that someone did a post a couple of weeks ago, and it was shocking, or surprising what the actual numbers were.
Yeah. Look, I'll say I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
But that demographic, if they're not prepared to embrace technology, and they're finding it difficult to sell their practices, so they're probably merging with somebody else who maybe has implemented the technology or is big enough to have people who can implement it.
Yeah.
Look, some firms do really well. Some firms I don't think do that well. I think some firms waste a lot of time and effort, whereas they could be making things better for themselves. And look, I suppose it's not really our job to talk about tech stacks apart from who we integrate with. And
we have to stay agnostic.
We do stay agnostic, and look, we've been really good at doing that over the years. We won't compete with clients, so we won't go into the same business the clients are in. How often do we get asked, do you want to buy this document business, or do you want to buy this accounting firm,
which would make sense, wouldn't it?
And whatever. And our answer is always no, because the last thing we want to do is actually compete with our clients, whereas our competitors have gone off and done that, which I don't think is going to be good for them in the long term personally, but look, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. We've seen a lot of software come and go. What separates the short-lived tech that lasts, like BGL, and helps firms?
Profitable businesses.
Yeah, profit and cash flow.
Profit and cash flow.
Yeah.
Look, focus is the number one thing. A lot of startups, and I'm involved with quite a few startups, get sidetracked very easily. Somebody comes along with a great idea and they think they've got to do it.
The new flashy red toy.
Yep. But the problem is the flashy red toy ain't going to earn you any revenue. So you've got to keep your focus on where your revenue is going to come from. And a lot of startups just don't do that. And I spend a lot of time with CEOs from a number of startups, and I'm on their back all the time. Focus, because that's the key. That's why we're where we are, and we know that. If we'd gone back to 2014 when we screwed up the release of Simple Fund, if we hadn't really had bums up and heads down and focused on what we needed to do, we wouldn't be where we are today. Yeah. So it's all about focus.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Just circling back to, I guess, that question before we were talking about tech and stuff, and it's just come to mind. One of the things that we have done within our firm, and you're talking about mergers and acquisitions and stuff, and we have faced that challenge where we have bought other firms, and they aren't to the position we're at, and dealing with that whole change management piece. And we were it was actually at LYD 24, I think it was, and I was speaking to Ned he's now departed FYI Docs, and I said, how's it been going on the booth and everything that they sponsored? And he goes, look, we haven't spoken to a lot of new clients, Michael, but one thing it did really highlight to me that was the majority of our clients were only using 15% of our solution. And he goes, and we need to do something about that. And I actually sat back and I go, you know what? I think we're probably similar in our accounting firm. And so, we're fortunate. We put in a head of special projects, and her role is now, and she did that. She went through and reviewed our whole tech stack and made sure, okay, let's clean up what we're not using. And then let's ensure that the team is utilizing as much as possible in relation to that. Do you find that, some of the challenges are, when people change from, say, a class, a competitor, and come across to BGL, that whole change management piece is a challenge.
Yeah, look, we've got some pretty good processes around that now. We've got exactly the same issue. People use maybe 20% of the software.
Yep.
It was one of the reasons we started the master classes, was to try to get people to use more of the software. Also, we do monthly webinar updates for new release, new stuff, to hopefully get people to use it. It still doesn't help.
No. And you have the pop-ups, which
and you've got the
which
pop-ups.
And BGL is very good in relation to doing that, but often I'll just click straight through and
100%, and they just ignore them. Yeah, look, we try and do it that way. People are time poor.
100%. Yeah.
Maybe they'd be time rich if they actually used more of the features in everybody's software, because there is a lot of smarts there that will save people time and effort. But it's a struggle to get people there, and I suppose if they're coming from a competitor, it's often a bit easier because they've been using SMSF software or whatever software for years, so they understand at least how the software works. They then tend to probably use more than what somebody who has not been using the software before, or has come from somewhere else who hasn't been using software.
Yeah.
We've got a good process to manage that change for them. So we've got good migration routines. We established a team in the Philippines now, 2019, to help with all of our migrations and conversions. We moved them into our own office as of 1st of April this year, so they're now all ours.
Where are they based?
In Clark.
Okay, yeah.
So we actually exported them from TOA, and Nick was really good. He helped us to do that.
Yeah.
And we set up our own office there. We've employed a couple more since, and we've got a whole process that we run through that we use these guys to do for us in terms of migrations and conversions. And we've got a client success team in Melbourne. Their job is to make sure people get up and running. And we've tried to automate that process as much as we can in terms of getting data across.
Yeah, Nick Sinclair's a good guy. I've just spent a week in Queenstown with him. So
okay.
Yeah, but we don't use TOA, but Nick is a fantastic advocate of our product and stuff. But we often find, and Ben often talks about it, is the Apple versus Samsung. Especially with our document, they're coming across from a different legal document provider, and the interview process can be different. The problem is part of the sales process. He's talking to potentially what you'd call the key decision makers, the partners or CEOs or something, and they go, "Yep, we want to sign up," and then they bring it across to their admin team, and the admin team goes, "I don't like this," because it's different.
It's different, and also the issue with migrating from one deed to another and all that stuff is fraught with problems if there's no legal support behind it.
Yeah, correct.
So I feel that's really important, which is something you guys offer and some of the others offer, but a lot don't. A lot like to just push the button, and that doesn't work.
Yeah, we're pretty fortunate. I mean, I probably feel that ourselves and Access are the ones who lead in relation to that legal support and legal sign-off side of things, and we think it's really important. So, what technology has blown you away this year? Obviously, AI is prevalent and at the forefront, and and what is BGL looking or doing in that space without, I guess, giving too much away?
Well, look, we've been doing AI stuff for really 5 years now, 6 years now. 2019, I think we released the first AI, which was a review of transactions in a super fund, telling people where we thought they posted it to the wrong place. And then we started using that for posting. So that was the next thing. And then we started doing the smart doc stuff, and we started with bank statements, and now we've moved on to all sorts of other types of documents as well. So we're doing more around that. There's some I'm not going to talk about it here because I can't. It's coming up in a few weeks at RegTech. We've got some incredibly interesting stuff coming out in terms of how we think we can help our clients become more efficient in the way they're processing their super funds. So it's something I've talked about over the years, is something that we've got this data, we've got to work out a way to use it. So that's something that we're doing, and we're also doing some really smart stuff about generated emails. So we'll show people a bit of that. That's on the client side. We've already implemented a lot of AI, and we've just released version 2 of our bot, which is now a multi multi-leveled bot. It's no longer just a single thing focused on a set of financials. It's actually focused on the whole fund. It goes out to the tax office database. It goes out to the to the SIS Act. It goes out to all sorts of places. So you can ask it questions really about anything to do with self-managed super now. So that was released a couple of weeks ago. And that's something we've been working on for a while. What we actually did at our managers exec retreat was we decided we're going to have an AI team with one of our senior managers who's been with us for a long time, runs all our dev. He's actually joining the exec team, and he's been charged with building AI through BGL, which is both through the products that we use internally and our clients' products. So where can we go? He's just done a whole lot of presentations for AWS on some of the stuff that we're doing and using their services to do. He's really good at this. And the whole idea is we want to implement more AI where it's useful to implement it through the organization. So there's
not just doing it for the sake of doing it.
Not just for the fun. We know that software development perspective, all the tools that we use now have AI components that will generate code. So we're expecting more code to come out quicker. And we think that what that's going to mean is we're going to need more people testing rather than more people developing. So it's going to change that focus. We're also using it in marketing. We're using it in support. We've just implemented we use Zendesk for all of our support. We've just implemented the Zendesk AI stuff, which is going to improve the results clients get through the chat. And before pre-support call. So all of that sort of stuff we're doing. We're using it in marketing. We use Sugar CRM. We're using the AI in Sugar.
I haven't heard the name Sugar for some time.
We've been using it for years, and it's too hard to move. So what we're trying to do is we've built a data pond or a data lake, as they're calling it, where we've put all of the data from everything together, and we're trying to work out now, and we've employed a data scientist. How can we use that data to help clients? So what's that telling us about how people are working, why they're having problems, what we need to fix, what we need to look at? So this is the sort of stuff that we're using AI for internally.
That's the biggest opportunity space, I think.
Look, we don't see AI as it's going to mean we're going to need a whole lot less people or anything like that. The way we're seeing AI is it's a tool people can use to do stuff better. And more efficiently. We're just buying a module now to help with employment, and that's got a whole AI-based thing to look at resumes, and tell you if they're written by AI for starters.
That's right.
But also
telling you if they're true or
it goes out and looks at stuff. Looks at yearbooks and looks at things that are going to tell you whether somebody actually did what they said they did. So there's a whole lot of smart stuff around that we're using, and we'll continue to use it. We'll continue to build it. We've got a team of guys that keep coming up with smart ideas. We'll just keep building them into the software for clients. Anything that we can do where it's going to make a client's life easier, we're going to try and put it in. And if it's AI based or if it's not AI based, that doesn't really matter. What matters is the clients get efficiency out of it.
We've got hired an AI intern. He's in the office 2 days a week. He's his second year of an AI double degree in computer science on the Gold Coast, and it's been fantastic. I'm building a startup at the moment called Tax Guru, and so it's closed-ended tax, and we've created our own custom AI outside of OpenAI and ChatGPT, and it's been fantastic working through and building that with him and having someone so young and so ahead of everything. And we've now working with an AI team in the Philippines, but it's sort of exciting space and opportunity, and it's
there's a lot of opportunities there. We started a grad program a little while ago, so we've employed a lot more grads, and obviously they've come through with more AI learning.
Yes.
But we want to get everybody up to speed, and we've said that to all the teams, all the product teams, all the internal teams. Is look, if there's an opportunity to use an AI product that's going to help you, and you can demonstrate how it's going to help you to be more efficient or effective in what you're doing, tell us.
Yeah.
We don't know everything that's out there,
Exactly.
and there are so many out there.
That's right.
For all sorts of different things. So look, we just see it as a tool that people can use. It's going to save time and money, and mean we're more efficient.
Yeah.
And if somebody can go home earlier because they're now doing stuff through AI, well, good.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't mind that.
No, me neither. That's the perfect world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. We've been the lighter side. We've sort of been developing some AI voice-driven stuff. So creating the legal documents, answering them via voice and everything, pulling information from there. And we, Ben and I, over in the US recently, we were talking to a couple of private equity firms over there, and we were able to create the NDA on the spot and just go, okay, tell me what's the name of your business, who are the directors, bang. I go, it's now in your inbox, ready to be fuse signed. And they're like simple, but they're blown away by the efficiency you need without having to type or anything. And it's taken a while to get it the voice side right, so it picks it up and spells it right. And
I used the voice navigation in the car today to try and find you.
Yeah.
Didn't help me that much. I should say it got me to the right intersection.
Yeah, which is a start, I guess. So, Ron, you've led a team through tech booms, tax reform, COVID in Victoria, and we had a great premiere down there, and
still have.
That's right. Well, what's one leadership lesson that came out of that complete chaos?
Well, I think it's a leadership lesson we've known actually for a long time, and it's honesty and integrity. Being upfront with your people.
Yes.
From the beginning. We went out at the beginning of COVID and we said to our team, we're not going to sack any of you. You're all going to have a job through COVID. Clients still need to use our software, and COVID in some respects means that they can use it at home instead of using it in the office.
Correct. Yeah.
It's not going to affect our revenues and things that much, we don't think. And we will continue to help you and support you. And if you're sick, take the time to be sick.
That's right. Yeah.
We also, I think the other thing that we did, because we're a software business with stuff in the cloud, we were able to come into the office, and we basically had an open invitation for anybody who wanted to come in come in, because we knew it was good for their mental health. Because we actually, it's interesting, we talked about this right at the beginning. We knew this was going to become a mental health disaster, and it has. So that became a big focus for us. We trained a lot of people around mental health to do that. So I think 1 in 20 employees at BGL in Melbourne and everywhere actually is trained in mental health, because we saw that. So I think that's it's I suppose consistency, honesty, integrity, being upfront with your team. It's probably not a lesson we learned, but it's something that we knew was going to do us well as we went through. And at the end, a number of people resigned. We expected that because everybody was running off for bigger salaries, and we weren't necessarily paying the hugest salaries to them at the point through COVID. But look, that's fine. We don't mind if people go somewhere and if they think they've got a better job, better place to work, go for it. A number come back.
Yeah, the grass is not always greener.
Grass is not always greener. And we're reasonably good to our team, and we've got great longevity. I think about 6 years average longevity.
That's pretty good. Yeah,
we've got 40 plus people over 10. So we people stay, which is good, and good and bad. You want people to stay, but at times people need to look at what they're doing and see, well, am I in the right place? Am I doing the right thing, or am I just comfortable?
Yeah, exactly.
So
I talk to the team all about that all the time. I go, like, obviously I want you on the bus, but if the seat on the bus is not the right seat for you, then we'll help you exit it.
100%. we're the same.
Yeah. And I mean, talking about long term, Daniel's been with you for how many years?
28, I think we're at now.
Wow, that's crazy.
He's been with me longer than his wife.
So he's a lovely guy. And how did you land on the decision, for him to, I guess, take over as CEO of BGL? And
it had been coming for a while. But one of the things that, and I suppose a lot of people talked about, because every year we've been going to the World Business Forum in New York, Daniel and I, or sometimes with other people as well. And one of the things that gets talked about a lot is what really is the role of a leader. And one of the things that stuck in my mind through that whole, all of the people we've listened to over the years, was you should be working to replace yourself.
Yeah,
100%. Your number one job in some respects is to build up the person who is coming up next to you and behind you to be the person who's going to take over the role. At some point in time, I had to make a decision on what I was going to do, and it just happened to be the right time, I thought, for Daniel to move up.
Yep.
He'd been operations manager for 3 or 4 years and had done that role very well. And I wanted to start to step back because I want to focus more on the other stuff that I'm doing. And it's only 24 hours in a day. You can't do everything. And I don't want to do everything these days. I want to spend more time up here where it's warm, even though I'm working.
Although it's raining today.
It's raining today. It's still warmer than Melbourne.
Yeah, that's right.
So, I want to do things. I want to go away more. I want to travel more. I want to do all those things. I can't do that if I'm still running day to day. So I made the decision that if to appoint Daniel, make him CEO, to give him all the day-to-day stuff, a lot of which he was already doing. And I'll just focus in a couple of areas that I'm interested in. I still want to be involved in events because I like to talk to clients and it's a good opportunity to meet them.
Yes.
So I'll keep doing events as long as I can possibly do them. My wife says, "Oh, you let other people do them." No, I enjoy it.
My wife says the same all the time as well. Why do you need to travel?
Why do you need to travel all the time?
Yeah.
So look, I do that and I enjoy that. I still do the accounting work for BGL. I don't need an external accountant. It's not that hard.
You still do the accounting work for BGL? Yeah.
Well, I don't do the debtors and creditors. But the accounting work at the end of the quarter I do, and it's not too hard. So it's, in theory, it's a reasonably simple organization. We don't have any debtors. We've got some creditors. We've got income in advance we've got to calculate, and the rest of it is just handling how the receipts and stuff work, and that's all semi-automated, and we'll automate it more over time. So that's pretty simple. So I still do that, but I do it because it's also intertwined with all my private stuff.
Yeah, I understand.
So I need to do it all together, and I work through that every quarter. That's fine. I do keep a track of what's going on. We've got some just building now some really big, really interesting dashboards out of the new data lake that will help Daniel and I with giving us the information that I normally get on a quarterly basis, really or a monthly basis that we'll get on a daily basis. So that'll be useful. But look, we're a long-term, successful, profitable business. We've got a great team of people. As long as we keep doing the right thing by our clients. And that's really what it comes back to. I can't remember who said it in the first place. Might have been Simon Sinek or somebody did, maybe Gladwell. I can't remember. But somebody said, look, if you look after your clients, the revenue will come.
That's right.
And that's really the focus that we've always had.
Clients and team.
You get your team right. Bill Collins, number one thing is get your team right. Keep them on the 20-mile walk so that they're doing the same thing over and over again and getting good results from it, and keep innovating on top of that. So we continue to do that, and as long as we continue to do that, I think the business will continue to grow. It's not a really hard formula.
No,
it takes a while to get there.
There's grind at first.
And it takes time to get volume. Look, it was really interesting about well, 2018 or 19, I went to the SASTA conference, the cloud computing conference in California. And one of the things, well, probably the main thing I picked up out of that was that our business is no longer really selling software or selling subscriptions. Our business is all about client service.
Yes.
And it's all about keeping in touch with our existing clients. So that was when we put in really the account management team.
Yeah, I think it's so important. I think so many businesses get it so wrong. And
yeah, well, if you've got a software business that's spending all its time just trying to sell new software, you're looking for new software, and new software is the most expensive thing to sell.
Yes.
You're out there trying to sell stuff all the time, and you're not focusing on the clients that you want to come back,
Exactly.
who you've already converted.
Yeah.
So we spend a lot of time and a lot of money, and have a lot of people whose job is to speak to clients. And look, it's certainly helped us over time. It hasn't been perfect, but it's a long way from where we were 5 years ago. The AI is going to help us a little bit with that as well, as time goes on now. But yeah, there's nothing. Business is still about relationships. It's about people who know people.
Yeah.
So you got to talk to your clients. You can't just rely on an email once a year or twice a year saying, "Hello, I'm still here."
Exactly.
Or this is my new account manager. You've got to actually have contact with people, and it's incredibly important. When we try to focus, try to get all of our team, no matter what country they're in, to understand that. And at times it's really hard.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's much easier to send an email. Of course it is, but you're going to get a much better response if you ring somebody.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, our accounting firm, we and we've had people look at the numbers and the team mix and stuff, and they've said to me, they go, you've got too top heavy in admin and client. We call them our client success team. I go, I did that intentionally, and we're at such a happy spot now when we onboard and the whole client management and
you keep the clients happy.
We are, and we're keeping them, and we're growing and growing because on the back end of that, and the feedback we get all the time is that was such an amazing experience. And I said, well, if the onboarding is sticky and amazing, it'll just continue and continue, and if we on that client journey, if we continue that relationship, then it just make it becomes self.
There was a report out a few years ago that talked all about that accounting firms should have account managers.
Yes,
and that was I hadn't heard of many firms doing it at that stage. There are a lot more doing it today. But it's so important. That's if you want to grow, you got to keep your clients happy. The accountants have got other work to do, and their skills are not at necessarily
that's right.
Account management. So you need to treat each client as an account that you've got to manage.
Yeah, and too many firms, I think, try and push these typically introverted people into those roles in terms of you need to be talking to the clients, you need to be selling to the clients, you need to be managing them, and they don't want to. They want to be sitting behind the keyboard, and I talk to them all the time. I go, if you're gonna, don't send fucking 2-3 page emails to people, but they love doing that with 40 or 50 queries.
But that's the thing. It's trying how you keep that process simple.
That is,
and that's where the software should help. That's where a Xero or a BGL or whatever you're using should give you the facility, and we do, and I think Xero does as well, to send queries to clients.
Exactly, yeah, you do, and you do it really well.
Rather than sending emails, because it's a much smarter way to do it.
Exactly, and you know what's been answered, what's outstanding, and what needs to be followed up, and then it stops the frustration of the back and forth, and Yeah.
No, look, I think they're great services that we can use. We can put in software to make lives easier for our clients.
So what's the succession plan for Ron and BGL? I mean, you must have people knocking on your door all the time wanting to buy BGL, and is it to pass it on to the team, or is there a sales event, or?
Look, I think. Look, it's hard to tell. Certainly, at the moment, there are no plans to do anything.
Yes.
While I'm still fit and healthy and able to do what I'm doing, I'm brought myself back to a couple of days a week in the office now. That changes depending on the time of year and what I'm doing. But the idea was 2 days a week on average to be in the office, I'll continue with that for a little while. I provide Daniel with the support he needs. But we have people knocking on our door all the time. but we really have no interest, and it's not like we need the cash.
No, that's right. Yeah,
If we needed the cash for the
it makes
business,
sense. Yeah,
different story. If I needed the cash personally,
Yep.
also different story. But I don't. Cash is always nice, but
yeah, of course.
If you're trying to invest, you can only invest so much at a time,
Mm.
and you've got to watch what you're investing in. And I'm pretty cautious of what I invest in. So we've always got plenty of cash, so that's never an issue for us. In terms of the rest, I suppose the cashing out, it's I don't know how much difference it would make to my life if I cashed out.
Yeah.
If we sold it to somebody.
Mm.
I think that's probably what will end up happening. Who that will be, I've got no idea. There are lots and lots of people that have been interested in it.
Of course, yeah.
We've had a couple of interesting discussions with some of the investment houses and the other, I suppose, people running around some of these some of the funds and some of the others, but and large software companies. But I really don't have any reason to sell the business. If it was keeping me up at night and I wasn't able to sleep because there were issues that I couldn't resolve, then it might be a different story. Where our biggest risk at the moment, and we understand that, is security around the data.
Yeah, cybersecurity is a massive thing, isn't it?
Huge thing, especially the amount of data that we keep.
Yes.
We're pretty good at it. We've got some really good people who are absolutely anal in the way that they handle it all. The ISO stuff has helped us. We're going to move to SOC 2 now.
Okay.
So we're going to go to the next level.
Yeah.
And we will keep doing what we can, but that's really our biggest risk now. Our risk is not of somebody necessarily coming up as a competitor, because I think we've got so much in our favor that it's going to be very difficult. It's doesn't mean we won't be one, but no. I think it's going to be difficult. We just will continue as we're going. As we continue doing the right things for clients, they're going to keep coming back, and we don't price ourselves out of the market. So those two things together. So we'll keep an eye on both of those, and we put through price rises every year. We don't get complaints generally from clients about the price rises because they're seeing the value. If they weren't seeing the value in what we're giving them, then they would be up and down complaining about the price rises.
Yeah, and often the accountants are complaining they don't see it they see it in the wrong pair of glasses, don't they? They don't see the value and the efficiencies and everything that they get from using the product. They're too cost focused, and they're like $1 extra. I can't believe it's gone.
Yeah. Look, I don't know. Look, we've every business has got its cost increases. If we want to keep our people, we've got to pay them well.
Yeah, correct. Yep.
And I look at the salaries and the levels of some of the senior developers and some of the senior guys, and they're getting paid. I don't know if you call it well. They're getting paid within the ranges of what we're supposed to be paying them, but those ranges keep going up. The cost of living keeps going up, and you want your people to be in a position where they're not worrying about money.
Yeah, that's right.
Personally.
Yeah, because if they start thinking about that, they start looking elsewhere, and they're distracted, and they're not bring their A game either, are they?
100%. So we have a system for distribution system for client for team every year, and we look at that.
Okay.
So there's ways that we reward them to keep them.
Awesome. What's your non-negotiable daily habit that keeps your brain sharp? Because you're still very sharp.
Non-negotiable daily habit. That's a good question. My days are pretty simple. I get up, I go somewhere and have some breakfast. I read through the newspapers and the newsletters and have a look through my email. I go and I then go into the office, or I go to my desk up here and do whatever work that I need to do. Probably my non-negotiable every day is making sure that about 5 or 6 o'clock I stop working. Yeah, and I go and sit down and watch TV.
Just switch off.
Just switch off. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
There's nothing sort of not negotiable that I don't do every day. Apart from that, probably.
Yeah, I often see you switching off on the plane when I'm sitting next to you and you're playing a few games and stuff.
Yeah. Well, look at this. You gotta have a break. And I I'm not a big gamer or anything. I'm at the moment I'm playing mahjong on my tablet, and I enjoy that.
Yep.
And I play a couple of card games.
Yeah, I think I've seen you play a few card games and stuff.
Card games.
Yeah.
But I don't play a lot of these other games. I just but again, you need to switch off. You need to have time to disengage. I think that's probably my not negotiable every day, is to have time to switch off, which becomes difficult when you're traveling, especially with things like RegTech, where you're working all day and then with people all night. So you sort of come back quite exhausted after those.
Yeah, you do. And have you got any, on the road travel, business, conference horror stories?
Well, there's lots of horror stories over the years. I used to do our update seminars by myself, so I used to travel around the country, fly into the cities, do the seminar, fly out to the next city the next day,
set up yourself and everything.
Set up myself, have everything. Bring projectors with me, because the hotels were charging stupid amounts of money for a data projector. Probably the one that I remember the worst was I was flying with Compass Airlines. I don't even remember Compass Airlines. Flying from Melbourne to Sydney. And I arrive at the airport. I'm sitting there at gate waiting to get on the plane, and this rainstorm comes through. And it's 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes of continual rain. We didn't even know if the plane would get off the tarmac. And this was a 6:30 flight, got to Sydney. And I had to be at 9 o'clock. We were having a session with 180, 200 people at the Hilton in Sydney. So I had to manage somehow to get there in time. I think I landed about 8 o'clock. By the time I got out, got a taxi, whatever, got to the hotel, it was about 10 to 9. Most of the clients were there already, waiting for me. That was a beauty. Look, we're pretty well organized with these things. There are always things that don't end up the way that they're supposed to.
Yep.
But you get them fixed. You get there early. You get them fixed. That's what Daniel does these days. He gets to all the events really early and makes sure that the rooms and everything are set up the way that we want them to be. The right things are in the right places. You can tell hotels whatever you want, they don't listen.
No. It's hard work.
It becomes hard work. But we've got a team now that will handle that. A couple of people who handle all the events, both internal and external. And we do a lot of events every year. With the ones we attend and the ones we put on. So it keeps those guys busy. We also have a lot of internal events because we run a staff lunch every month. We have managers meetings. We have exec meetings. We have a monthly showcase for product updates and stuff, so everybody gets to see what's going on.
The whole team,
so there's quite a bit going on continually. We know if we provide people with food, they'll turn up. So we put them over lunchtime. One of the things with the new office is we've in Melbourne is we've got this enormous staff area now.
Oh, have you? You haven't seen the new office yet? I've only been to that one.
When you're in Melbourne, drop in.
Yeah, definitely. So let's shake things up a bit. You've never been shy about politics. What do you think the government gets wrong when it comes to supporting business and tech innovation?
Where would you like to start? Look, the R&D stuff is good.
It's hard to...
It's not enough, and it's too hard to get because people spend a lot of money on R&D that is not new. And trying to come up with new stuff every year is not always possible and is difficult. But I think a lot of people just I don't know, make up stories. Tax rates are too high, especially for individuals. And that affects the ability of you to employ and means you've got to pay people more so that they can afford to live because of ridiculous energy costs caused by net zero.
Well, I think they should put up the consumption tax and reduce personal rates and just put the consumption tax on everything.
Yep.
No GST-free items or anything.
I thought that from the beginning, but I don't think we're ever going to get that. We might get some change to it now, but I don't think we're going to get a lot. But we should have a GST of 15%. It should be on everything,
correct.
And that would reduce could reduce personal income tax rates. Could also maybe reduce company rates, or maybe move everybody to 25%.
Yep. Just make it simple.
Make it simple. We've created such a complicated regulatory regime for businesses. Can you imagine trying to start a restaurant today? The amounts of permits and
exactly.
And stuff that you need when it should be really easy to do it. But every business is in that. Payroll tax is a disaster.
Yeah,
just an incentive.
My most hated tax. Yeah, it's crazy. As soon as you get over a certain threshold, it makes sense to be smaller, like to not employ people,
100%.
which is it's bullshit.
That work cover I can understand, and that's not that expensive. Land tax in Victoria is ridiculous.
All the taxes in Victoria. We've been offered in lieu of some fees by a client a commercial property on St Kilda Road at the moment, and I met with a conveyancer from Victoria the other day, and she did. I got off the meeting, spoke to a business partner. I said, mate, she did everything she could do to convince me we shouldn't be buying a property in Victoria because of land windfall taxes, the land tax, having it in the trust, and
we do everything. We seem to be doing everything we possibly can to, and of course the industrial relations environment's a bloody disaster. We seem to be doing everything that we possibly can to make it difficult for people to run businesses. And I think part of the reason for that is because nobody on the Labor side of politics has ever run a business. I don't think there's one in there that's actually worked in the private sector. They're all just living in theoretical worlds.
Correct.
This whole idea of net zero is a joke. And for starters, we're not going to get there.
No.
But even if we did get there, we'd be broke. We'd all be broke. It's bad enough at the moment that they're destroying agricultural land with wind farms and solar panels and power lines
and electric cars and lithium batteries. Like they're saying,
dangerous.
Yes, that's right. And the cost of mining it and everything.
Cost of mining it, the way that it's mined in Indonesia, just ridiculous. If you can forget the Greens Party aren't interested in green anymore, because if they were, they wouldn't want us to destroy the environment to put in bloody wind towers. So look, it's all. It's a pretty messy place that we're in at the moment, and I don't think it's going to get any better.
No.
Industrial relations has become very, very complicated. We're pretty good at keeping records, and it's all about keeping records. It's all about having bits of paper. If you got that, you're fine. But it's just a lot of extra work for very little.
There's significant changes. Obviously, accountings are going through now with all the TARSA changes in relation to record keeping.
That's the next step. Is all the know your clients and
AML coming in
for accountants is going to be difficult. Well, we've got BGL IG that will handle that.
It's a good product.
So we're actually going to pull that out of the software and have it as a standalone.
Makes sense.
At some point, not too far away, hopefully. And we've put the biometrics in it now, so it basically handles everything we need. It's good that we can do this. Look, I've got no issue with accountants having to identify their clients. I think they should be doing that anyway.
Agree.
And I think they should. I wish the ATO would give us the ability to verify more stuff that goes into a self-managed super fund, because we can't really verify the tax agent. We can verify that they're a tax agent, but we can't verify who the representative is.
Or the auditor.
We can't verify the auditor at all. There's an auditor thing but there's no electronic access to that auditor panel list. If we could verify some of this stuff, it would make it a lot easier to do it. We can't verify individual tax file numbers. Can't verify if they're correct.
It's crazy.
We can verify it's the number meets the check digit, but we can't verify.
But you can't. There's the actual right number.
That's the right number. So we should be able to run a service with the ATO where we give them all the information and they confirm that information is correct. So from a client's perspective, they're the tax agent anyway, so they've got all this. There's a lot of stuff that that could make our lives easier, but we seem to be making our lives harder. And all that's going to do is cost business more.
Yeah.
You know, nobody understands that all this AML stuff costs money. May not be huge amounts of money, but when you're doing it for every client, and you're going to have to do it for every beneficiary of a trust, you're going to have to do it for every trustee, you're going to have to do it for every director, every shareholder.
Yep.
You know, it starts to add up from the perspective of doing the searches.
Yeah.
But the amount of time
and the admin time and everything. And the thing is, the firms that are doing what they should be doing will have to charge more, and then there's going to be the ones who are not, and
correct,
and killing you on price and stuff.
Yeah,
So
well, that's always the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's like the auditors that don't do audits, that just tick and flick and say, yes, we've done
exactly.
it.
Yeah, and charging. You know, it's a race to the bottom, the what they're charging and stuff.
Yep.
And I go, there's no way they could be completing the audit. And
can't do an audit for $150.
No way. Doesn't matter what systems you have in place or anything.
No. And look, that's the industry that we've got to. I suppose it was the same in the document businesses.
It is, yeah.
A lot of people were racing to the bottom. We don't have as much of it in our industry, in our side of the industry anymore. But we see it with actuary certificates.
Yeah,
the race to the bottom. I don't get it. You know, look, it's great that people can get a service at a cheaper price.
Yep.
But you got to be providing that service properly.
It's very difficult to provide
and it's very difficult to provide it at that price, and costs go up.
You
know, whether we like it or not, people costs go up. Our rent goes up. Our electricity goes up. Everything goes up.
Yeah, so you have to.
So you've got to increase prices, and it makes it very difficult for the guys when everybody's racing to the bottom.
Yeah. Thoughts on the Div 296?
Stupid tax.
Yeah.
Just no. Again, politicians who don't understand the consequences of what they're doing.
Yeah.
Look, whether it affects me personally or not, that's got nothing to do with it. The whole thing is just stupid. You know, taxing unrealized gains. I can understand if they want to tax income above.
So can I.
Investments above 300K.
Yeah.
And in some respects, I can't argue with that. But taxing unrealized gains is ridiculous.
It is, yeah. Where's it going to stop? Is that does it move on to other entities?
Do they decide if you know, we've already effectively got a tax on unrealized property. You know, land tax is a tax, a tax on unrealized property because it's on the, and so are your rates that you pay every year and all that.
It's on your UCV and everything.
It's all based on the values of the properties. So we've already got that, and that's what they're arguing. Oh, you've already got this. Yeah, but we're not paying income. You know, we're not going to go and value somebody's assets again and then charge them more tax on it.
Yeah.
Which is you could.
And why is it only on SMSFs and?
Well, it's on all the super. But, what I find really interesting is so many people are in favor of it, but they don't realize in 10 years when they're looking at their super, it's all going to be affecting them, especially if it's not indexed.
Right. When they made the decision to vote Labor in, they didn't think about
how it's going to affect them, and in the end, it's going to affect, I would say, a very significant number of people. Look, we know at the moment it's probably about 200,000 to 300,000 will be affected, but after, give it 5 years, that'll be 600,000.
Yeah.
Give it 10 years, could be well over 1 million people that are affected by it. And if it's not indexed, the thing is, really, if you think about it, we keep making changes to the super system, but for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
You know, while it was really nice that Peter Costello gave everyone tax-free income out of a super fund, I think it was a really dumb decision. And I don't know who that came from.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a Ken Henry idea, and he has lots of dumb ideas. But I don't understand why we didn't go the other way.
Yeah.
What we should have done is we should have said, okay, anything you put in the fund is not taxed. We're not going to tax the income, but you're going to pay normal tax rates on the way out. And we wouldn't have this problem because people would effectively be paying significantly more tax.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
But we didn't. We did it the wrong way around, and now we've got ourselves in a mess. So we're looking for other ways to screw people over. I just think it's a bad tax the way it's currently designed.
Yep.
And it's from what I'm hearing recently, it's got the Treasurer has so much flexibility as to what he can do or she can do in the future that it's against the Constitution. And
it's complete bullshit.
It's going to end up with a constitutional challenge.
Yep.
So that's not going to help either, because that's just going to put more uncertainty around it.
Do you think that then means people have got to look at what they actually put in their SMSFs and stuff? Like I've recently been appointed to this new SMS Innovation Council, which is, it's focused on digital assets and crypto and things like, not just crypto, but digital assets. And, and there's a focus there within that in terms of SMSFs holding it and that. And, with Div 296, it's going to be very difficult, obviously, in terms of that valuation piece, because a lot of them are very volatile in terms of.
Well, they're certainly volatile. The problem is it doesn't affect you. If the asset goes down, you don't get a credit.
No,
back,
exactly. Yeah, I know.
which is another screw up in the tax. Look, it's interesting. Digital assets can be valued. That's not a problem.
No, the valuation
is easy.
Whether the exchange and stuff and who's actually owns them and holds them and stuff is.
But the question is going to be whether people move to assets that have got no capital gains in them. Yep. So they put their capital gains somewhere else where they're going to get better tax results, and they move assets into their funds that are interest bearing assets that don't have any capital gains.
Yeah.
And you can get 8 to 10% comfortably around town now on first mortgages effectively. So, and I'm not giving investment advice.
No, this is all general in nature.
This is all general in nature.
Yeah.
But look, there's ways you can get returns, and I think the asset mixes in funds will change.
Yeah, definitely, I agree.
And there are other things that one can do, and I suppose somebody was saying, which I thought was quite clever, is you put all your kids in the fund, and that gives you $3 million for each of them.
Yeah.
So that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
Anyway, interesting things.
It is interesting times. Ron, thanks for your time today. It was good having you on the couch, the Hard Naked Truth. So always a pleasure having a chat to you about many topics.
Not a problem. Thank you. Thanks for the invitation.
No worries.
It's time to wrap up another episode of the Hard Naked Truth, where we've stripped down the business world and accounting industry like never before. Follow all of our socials and share and keep following this podcast. Remember, when it comes to running a business and protecting your assets, keep it hard, keep it naked, and keep it real. Stay naked, stay truthful, and keep winning.